Every game in the Pathologic series is a story of a person trapped in a plague-ridden town. And if that person is the Haruspix, a self-taught surgeon who relies on intuition, a scalpel, and knowledge of the step, then you get Pathologic 2, a survival-focused game where a doctor literally plunges his hands into the flesh of the afflicted. But if you take control of Daniil Dankovsky, a renowned medical scholar, a keen observer, and a man who turns to laboratory research only in the most exceptional cases, then the story takes a different turn. Pathologic 3 will offer you an entirely new gameplay experience. Stranded in a city ravaged by a strange disease known as the Sand Plague, Daniil, ever the scientist, notices something unusual.
I don't complain. I live well. It's that my heart hurts.
Some patients aren't dying within the usual 5 hours. Maybe it's because the Sand Plague is being weakened by other illnesses. If he can find all these patients and uncover their hidden conditions, he might be able to craft a vaccine. Imperfect, temporary, but what if it's the first step towards saving the town? And so, from doctor and researcher, Dankovsky is forced to become a detective. You enter a makeshift hospital hastily set up in the city's theater. You check patients' records. You talk to the sick and examine them. But don't believe everything you hear. Wounds in a hand could be from a street fight, or they could be the early signs of an ulcer. A patient might dismiss their headache as the flu, but you recognize symptoms of steppe fever. And when you encounter blackened eyes, distorted pupils, and other strange anomalies, no amount of common medical knowledge will help. You'll have to learn how to read the symptoms of this world and look for the clues beyond the hospital walls. Patient's neighbor or a forgotten object in their home might hold the key to their past few days, helping you make the right diagnosis, save a life, and get one step closer to the vaccine. Of course, you could take the simpler route, run tests, use a microscope and get a clear answer. You'll see which organs are affected. The data will be recorded in the patient's file, and the solution will be much clearer. But where will you find the rare reagents needed for testing in a city consumed by plague? Even if you manage to conduct the research and skillfully eliminate false diagnoses, reagents will run out, and the next patient might not get that luxury. Every day, new patients will arrive at your door. If you manage to save them all, you'll take another step toward developing a vaccine for the Sand Plague. 8 vaccines in total. That's all it takes for the city to survive until the 12th day. But put yourself in the shoes of an ordinary citizen. Would you be willing to take an untested vaccine in the middle of an epidemic? And if doctors started injecting people with strange, unknown substances every day, wouldn't people start whispering, panicking, even rioting? Dankovsky, be careful with your public decrees, because if the frightened townsfolk turn on you, they might kill you before you have the chance to save them. Sometimes an exhausted Dankovsky closes his eyes and wonders, what if death could simply be killed? The locals believe the plague is brought by a steppe demon, Shabnak, a creature from legend. If it really existed, if he could shoot it with his modern city-made instrument, he would take the chance, no matter how impossible it seemed. It would be better than fighting against the very people he's trying to save. How to maintain the delicate balance of life in a dying town and keep your own sanity intact, that is a story for another time. After all, what happens in the hospital under the microscope is only the surface of Pathologic 3.